it's a love triangle, a story of desire and want. I just made that up right then.
Oh, really?
That's new, but I thought it worked pretty well too.
It does.
You know what I was doing last night?
No, but whatever it was, you sound very excited.
My name is Ira Sachs. It's a film about a gay couple who's been together for a while and the woman that one of them chooses to have a relationship with. So it's a love triangle, a story of desire and want. Because that was the first decision of the creation of the film, is that we wanted to make a film structured around three people and that very particular tension.
I'll dance with you.
Almost all my films, it seems like there is a triangle. When you have a triangle, everything gets elevated. Everything gets heightened because always someone doesn't have something that they want. Two films that were really significant were a film called Lulu by Maurice Pialat.
Tu penses que c'est vraiment sérieux avec elle?
Je me demande ce qu'elle fout avec un mec comme moi.
And also a film called The Innocent, which is the last film of Visconti.
Convincermi. Io devo trovare la forza di farla finita, di non vederla più. E tu mi devi aiutare.
It's like an attempt to examine and also to take down a man who's used to feeling like he has power and has everything. To be honest, in the age of Donald Trump, I was interested and felt a need to understand men with power and to also understand how they might be weakened. I've never said Donald Trump's name in an interview because I don't want this, it's a little bit of a stretch, but it's actually true to think that this was a film that was made in the era of Trump. I mean, when I say Trump, I could also say myself, to be honest. It's a very personal film, and I've looked back at my movies. I've now been making movies for 30 years, and I think in a way there's one common thread, which is sort of observing men behaving badly, and also the tension between what a man might think is his beliefs and the way that his actions defy those beliefs.
Maybe we have to take more risk.
So now you're falling in love with someone else, you're taking that risk.
Someone who I was close to described me as a wolf in sheep's clothing. And that really stuck with me because I thought it was quite apt. Shooting the film, I also thought about the fact that both Tomas and myself, and also Franz, the actor, are also sheep in wolf's clothing. So in a way, that's the process of watching the film, which is, are you watching a wolf or are you watching a sheep? And in a way, I think what's human about his performance is that you're watching both. Does that make any sense? You describe him as the worst person in the world, but I would also describe him as one of the most attractive. So I first saw Franz Rogowski in a film called Happy End by Michael Haneke, and he plays a supporting role, and in one scene he does a karaoke performance to a song by Sia, and he kind of takes over the screen. It's an incredible scene, and I was just incredibly turned on by the performance in terms of the figure, the body, the power, the originality, the mystery, but also the cinematic quality. It's really something. I mean, I think of it's like Greta Garbo or something. It's just really pure cinema in his body and how he relates to the camera and the screen. And so I was drawn to Franz because I was attracted to him, not because I was repelled by him. And I think that's part of what's fun about Tomas in the film. In a way, when you're shooting a film, every scene is this incredible moment of anxiety because you don't know what the actors will do with the limited things that they're given. And it will either come alive or it won't. And I think the sex scenes are good examples where I I sort of create the possibility for unknown things to happen. Those are very improvised scenes in the sense that you are giving them like the concept of passion and maybe the structure of where bodies will be placed and where the camera will be, but then everything in the middle is invented.
This is what always happens, we just forget.
I thought of Martin in the film, played by Ben Whishaw, as kind of, in a way, an exact opposite of Tomas, in the sense that Martin is stability, Martin is economic consistency and sustainability. Martin has a job that looks like had many years in the past and will have any in the future. Martin sort of seems like to represent home. I think of Franz as an animal and Ben as a knife. Not a knife that's going to kill you, but a knife that's going to very precisely define, cut without any crumbs. Let's keep going. There are no crumbs.
I think I'm falling in love with you.
There was a movie made in the 70s. It was a television film, like a 1-hour television film called Who Am I This Time? And Christopher Walken plays a kind of a very average Joe in a small town who's part of a community theater. And in certain scenes, he's like Stanley Kowalski in Streetcar Named Desire.
Stella? Stella!
And it's suddenly like, who the hell is that? We have not seen that person before this moment where they're on stage. And Ben has that kind of presence and surprise. There's this idea in the film that Tomas is the only one who causes pain and acts out of impulse instead of out of reason. And the truth is all three of the characters do. You see, for example, in the first scene that Agathe is willing to like intrude upon a marriage that already has shape and form and history. She doesn't have any qualm about like going right in.
It's my party and my husband doesn't want to dance with me.
I'll dance with you.
It's funny because we're sitting here talking about the kind of themes of the film and it's kind of antithetical to how I made the movie. We don't rehearse in a formal way. I've never heard the lines said before we start shooting.
No table reads.
Definitely no table reads. And I'm always like, just go do something else. Like, go have ice cream instead of like sitting around talking about the things, making literal the things that you want to be abstract. Seeing it is what is the encounter. And that's true also for acting. Film is a series of actions, and acting is movement. Acting is action. What do you do? And everything else is like revealed in the silences and revealed in like what I see in your eyes right now. I mean, you're actually listening to me. And you're maybe thinking about something a little bit over here too, but you're mostly like, and I think that variation is what is to me what's wonderful about movie making, is like the being able to capture the things that are not said.
I think what's happening between us.
You cannot change someone like him. What they think, what they want to do.
I think I'm falling in love with you.
Say that to nothing.
There's certain moments in my film where there is a kind of release from what is written, and I think those moments tend to permeate the rest of the film. You always feel that the possibility is in the actors. I think about a movie, Mikey and Nicky, which is Elaine May film with John Cassavetes and Peter Falk. And it was really, Husbands is a Cassavetes film. Those are two films specifically where you always feel that the actors have freedom to change the direction of the story. I feel like those were instincts I had when I was younger, to try to capture that freedom. But what's nice for me about this film being older is that I felt like I have certain craft that is more developed than when I was young. And I feel like the film, it both feels free, but also it feels constructed. I think when you watch it, you sense there is freedom, but there is also control. I think with each character, there is a blurring between the role and the performer, but I think maybe the most with Agathe and Adèle Exarchopoulos.
Say that to Lotte, imagine.
She's a lot like Jeanne Moreau, in the sense that she's of the earth, but also she seems to be a goddess. And then in this film, she's dressed like Brigitte Bardot. Really, like we thought about her figure, we thought about her eyelashes, we thought about her hair, we thought about what light does to her face and to her skin.
Trou du cul. Putain. Merde.
So there's a great attention to the cinematic quality of Adèle Agathe as a figure of cinema, and I think that also adds to this sense that there's a mystery to her, right? Because she's elevated by the images. What's interesting is she plays a woman who is both very active, and then in the course of the film, she becomes somewhat of a pawn between these two men. In some ways, it's about choices people make, but it's also like about being in a world of men. There's a scene where she sings a song, and I think about the fact that she told me she couldn't sing, but she would try to. I've never heard her sing before. Neither has Tomas, and neither has the audience. But I kind of know she was home every night, probably like after she put her kid to bed, like practicing. That scene is a place where the strength and the tenderness are perfectly combined.
Seront tous en fête, les belles auront la folie en tête.